I've been making work nonstop and consistently since art school, and it's really hard to turn that off. What helps is when you have other things like layers in that making. And for me, my work really examines experiences brought about by diaspora, motherhood, all of these things that are really impossible to completely mine. You're going to be looking at these things forever. So in many ways, like, the inspiration is ongoing, and when you're flooded with all of these questions and things that you're constantly thinking about, the artwork is like, it's just like a pull, like it's a necessary thing to want to be processing those things through your active making. I guess that's just maybe how I approach it, and why it never gets boring. It compels me. This is the best way.
I recognize like my place in my blood lineage in making. Like, I come from like a heavily artisanal culture, and I really feel that. I itch to make. Like, it's just in me. Like, it's always been in me. I think if I stop making, I'll die. Like, I don't know what else I could do. Like, my other job that I've had is a cook, and I cooked in restaurants all through school, but I was still making. Like, I just ended up at the front of the pass. Like, I ended up in cold section. I was plating. Like, they're just like, you're artsy. Like, you're gonna go here. You know what I mean? You're garde manger. So I've always made, like, and it doesn't matter what position I'm put in. I'm just a maker. And, but that's not me. Like, I'm also just a portal, and I get it. I'm like just a portal, and like things are coming. And yes, I get tired, but yeah, it's just in me to make. I don't know another way to be, same as you. Like this, I don't know another way to live.
I had known of Rajni's work a little bit before she had known of mine. So I was teaching this class, and what was really nice about these kinds of classes is that I was allowed to just make up my own curriculum. And whenever I was teaching, I always had this mandate for myself that I was only going to show the students artists of color. So that was the thing that I did, and specifically a lot of like women or femme artists. And so when I was like making that curriculum, I came across Rajni's work, and I was like, yo, this is really awesome. Like, who is she? And so I was like, without even really knowing much about her, I was showing my students about her. And so I was really fascinated by her work. And for the very same reasons too, like you can kind of see that she's very interested in the body. She's interested in super weird things and folklore and textures. And obviously she had a very similar kind of attachment or like way of unpacking culture and experience. So I was really interested in her work.
We're both like, we have efficient minds, and we're used to multitasking everything. We're both moms, and we come from humble origins. So we have to think about a whole bunch of things at the same time. So it kind of like happened more easily. It felt easy.
It was just very fluid, and it was like, hey, let's work together. I had a dream that we collab on something, and I was like, I want to help you with that dream. That's a dream of mine too. So over the course of like a few phone calls and text messages, we conceived of the collaborative piece that we are presenting actually now in the show.
Marigold came up with Efflorescence, and I came up with The Way We Wake, and then we put it together. We're like, yes. So maybe you start with the first part. And
yeah. So when we were making this sculpture, and also it matters to mention how it was made, because we didn't really have we didn't like draft it out or draw it in detail. We were like very open to seeing how this was going to evolve. We didn't really know what the final look was going to be at all. It was evolving before our very eyes and hands. So while we were making it, I just kept thinking of this idea of like becoming. Like this is sort of blossoming. This is sort of coming into fruition as we are creating it. And we're creating it with these conversations we're having with each other, with the jokes, with the funnies, with like talking about our roles as mothers and our kids, you know, like, and so all of that is just pushed into the work. Like it's pushed into the clay and it's there. So I was thinking a lot about that, and I was thinking like, what's a word that really can describe this idea of like blossoming, blooming, also our friendship, our practices, this artwork. So efflorescence was the term that I came up with. And I thought that as one word, it was like it also has a beautiful sound too, you know. Another aspect to like collaboration that works well is if you have a lot of trust. And so for us, I mean, we trust each other a lot because we have a lot of similarities. We have similar work ethic. And we also really appreciate each other's work. So I just like, you know, when we were making it, Rajni would be like on one side of the sculpture and I'd be on the other side. And I wouldn't really know what she was doing and I'd be doing my own thing. But I just knew whatever she was doing was going to be amazing.
Good, yeah, I knew that it was going to be good. So like when we crossed to the other side, it's like, yep.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's awesome. And it was like very easy.
But there's acceptance and letting go too. Like
that's
lots
it.
of acceptance, lots of letting go, and like that's just trust.
And the working mode was like very intense, you know, nose to the grind, but very fun. And the thing is like, that's sort of part of the collaborative process. I mean, you're talking about collaborative process. It's like Rajni and I get along really well and we think pretty similarly. And then we have the similar work ethics. So executing something like this was actually very, I don't want to say easy, but it was like seamless.